Hey, what's going on, guys? All right, got another story for you today. Well, tonight rather. But first thing, I want to, of course, talk about one of my personal ghostly experiences. Well, ghost experiences, rather. Um, this happened right here in my home. I'd say about uh, two Super Bowls ago. um, Everything was going real good, set up, the party was my very first party. I've never really been a party person as far as giving one. I've always gone to parties and had my fun and came home. But for the first time, it was kind of like um a housewarming slash Super Bowl party. Invited all my close friends. It was a close set of friends. Very small, intimate. Well, not intimate, but I think that's just the term they use when it's a small gathering of friends. But anyway, uh, it was a nice little turnout, Super Bowl party, everybody's having fun, they standing around talking. And I'm actually right here, because right here, you can't see it, but this is the walkway that leads into the living room and the hallway that leads outside. So I'm standing over here in this area, and I'm actually, as a matter of fact, hold on a second. I want to see if this is even possible. I don't know why I'm trying to do this, but let's see if this is gonna work. Okay, carry this over here. Taking the laptop with me. That way you can kind of get a good estimate of where I'm going. Okay, now this is where I was at. Well, this is where it happened. I was standing adjacent to this hallway, and I'm like right in this area behind my laptop. This is like where my family room is, as you can see. Okay, this is my family room, and I was standing right about here, where I'm standing right now, or a little bit further back. Yeah, I'm like maybe right here, and I'm looking straight ahead, and right where you see that little pot right there, right? A woman walks out of that part of the wall near that pot and stands directly in that spot, and she looks right at me. The crazy thing was, she was a complete blur. I couldn't really see her features at all. It just looked like it was like looking at her through an out of focus lens. I could see color. I could see what she had on. She had on blue jeans, a light cream colored sweater. She had red hair, which was neck length, and she was Caucasian. She stood right there, looked right at me, and disappeared. Okay, so that was the experience I had with that. The funny thing about that is that I was just minding my own business, and all of a sudden I see the silhouette of a female walk straight through the wall from the direction like where the pot was, and she just came out and stood right there because we locked eyes with each other. The only problem was I couldn't see her eyes. I could only see the silhouette of a female. She was slender, she looked kind of shapely, but I could tell what kind of clothes she had on, the color of the clothing. I could see the color of her skin, but it was just a complete blur. Her entire body was like a complete blur. I could see the shape of it and everything, but I couldn't tell. It didn't have any details with it, and I'm looking right at her, and she looking right at me, and then as soon as she saw me, she disappeared. So I was like, whoa. And I didn't tell anybody because everybody was in my house. They all having fun. I wasn't going to just tell them that I just saw a woman walk through the wall near the front door. I wasn't going to do that. I wasn't going to have people running out of my house. Not saying that they would, but but still, I didn't want to do that. So I kept it a secret for like maybe a month or so, and then I told my homeboy and his brother, and then I told my own girl. She's like one of my best friends. I told her about it, and she was like, "Wow, okay." So I really didn't tell a lot of people that I'd be seeing ghosts in my house. Mainly before, all I really heard was noises, disembodied noises, and then I started hearing disembodied voices. Like just the other day when I was actually As a matter of fact, when I posted my video that early in the morning about Kendrick Johnson, I could actually hear a baby cry. And it was kind of like one of those moments where you in between sleep and awake. I have a very big feeling that when you're in between sleep and awake, your mental state passes through a stage where you could literally peer into the spirit world, okay, and you can actually hear what's going on. Because I think that happened to me one time before when I was at work, and I'm pulling the mail out of my machine, and I was fighting very hard to stay awake because I was really sleepy. And it's like when you're in that moment where you're in between awake and sleep and you're fighting to stay awake, there's a period or a level between those 2 points where you are actually peering into the spirit world. And I just happened to see a man standing adjacent to me on this side of this machine where I was standing in front of, and he was wearing like a shirt. It was like striped. It was like a white striped shirt, white and brown. It was like white, brown, and light brown colored striped shirt, and he had on light brown jeans or pants. And when I woke up, after I could see him as plain as day. When I jarred my eyes open, he like disappeared. The funny thing is, one of my coworkers told me that the guy that she saw in the bathroom when I told you about those experiences I was having in the bathroom at my job, she told me that he was wearing a striped shirt. So I'm thinking that that might have been him. I just didn't see his face. It was just weird, But anyway, like that experience I had at my front door. I'm like I said, I'm just standing there and I'm looking right at her, and I literally saw her walk through the wall, like as if she was coming from outside and just came into my house in a diagonal position and walked right into the hallway and looked right at me because she saw that I actually saw her, and then she disappeared. So it was crazy, but yeah, as far as that whole thing about when you're like really, really sleepy and you're trying to stay awake, somehow, some way you sort of mentally pass through a level where you could actually hear what's going on in the spirit world, and let alone see stuff. So you kind of, your mind is actually connecting with the spirit world, and you can hear stuff, you can see stuff. A lot of people probably don't realize that they can do that, but I think they can. They just got to know what's actually going on. And with me, I discovered that a long time ago. I just never really thought about it until here recently, that I can actually do that if I'm in between asleep and awake. It's kind of reminds you of that situation with the Freddy Krueger story, Nightmare on Elm Street, where everybody wants to stay awake because if they don't, they're going to see Freddy Krueger. And it's kind of true though. When you are sleeping, your mental state is awakened to another level where you can literally peer into the spirit world, which is, I think, a lot of times that's where your dreams come from. Some people say, like, if you're dreaming, you're actually traveling to another realm, kind of like what's the name, what do you call it, astral projection. It's kind of, it's kind of like that, but you're actually just dreaming. When you dream, your spirit is actually traveling to these different places, and that's where you get your dreams from. I've actually heard that before, where you can, even though it feels like a dream, you're actually traveling somewhere, where I could be dreaming about somebody that I know and I'm there, just like, I mean, some of them may still be dreams, and some of them may be a point where you're traveling somewhere and you just don't realize it until you actually wake up, and it just feels so real that you can't help it, Because like one time I had a dream where I was at work and I was on the dock, and I had this feeling in the pit of my stomach, and it felt like I was literally about to lift off the ground, like because it was kind of like when I used to watch Dragon Ball Z, and they were in the cartoon, they was telling one person how to actually fly and what you have to do in order to make that happen. It's like you get this, you have to sink the energy down into the pit of your stomach, and after that it just goes out in all directions. to where you can actually lift yourself off the ground. And I felt that energy in the pit of my stomach. So I'm thinking that a lot of times when you hear stuff on TV, a lot of that stuff is true. You just don't know that it's true because you never experienced it before. So for me to actually experience that feeling that in the pit of my stomach or in my core, I felt it. I felt the energy. It started to just take over my entire body, and I felt that urge to just lift off the ground. And I had a lot of dreams in my past where I was actually levitating or flying around. I had a lot of flying dreams, so, and it just felt so natural at that point. And a lot of times you don't realize that when you are in an astral projection type state, you can fly. It's just a matter if you can bring that knowledge back with you on how you're actually doing that. There's no telling what you can actually do at that point, but it just depends on what level of mental capability you're actually at that point. Because when you go to sleep, you can pretty much do anything you want. It just depends on where your mindset is and what level of brain capacity your mind is at. So, like I said, I've experienced a lot of things over the years that I never thought I could do. And just like with meditation, one time I felt like this energy just flow out of my body, and I just happened to look to my right, and the blinds shook, and the windows were down. That's the funny part. The windows were down, and I could feel this energy. It felt like it just heard like a gush of energy, like that, and just went out in all directions. And that energy hit up against the blinds, and it shook the blinds. So I was like, whoa, and I wasn't doing anything. It's like I meditated like every single night, and apparently I built up a certain amount of energy inside me, and it just burst out in all directions, and it just caused the blinds to shake. So it was just that powerful. I even one time, when I was going to my brother's graduation, this was like way back, in the late 90s, and I had been out in the sun for a long time. We was outside, it was in the middle of the summer. I had on a wife beater. It was a Champion wife beater, and it was extremely hot. Apparently my body was absorbing all this heat, right? And my body can adapt to heat very well, and apparently from what I'm about to tell you, it actually did a pretty good job of it. Because when I got back to the hotel, we were getting ready to go to sleep because I think the graduation was the next day. So we were turning in, and my mom had turned on the air conditioning in the room, because most of those hotels, they got that little air conditioning vent thing that be sitting directly underneath the window, and it has a little knob where you can control the air and all that stuff. She turned it on, and I'm like right in front of it. I'm like right next to this air, and it was blowing on me. But my body temperature had rose at such a high level, I couldn't feel the air flowing around me. And it was cold air, and my whole body, my body's energy, I guess you say, my body's energy or my body heat rose to such a high level that it created a barrier around my body, and I could feel, I couldn't even feel the air blowing on me. But apparently that heat shield around my body wasn't strong enough, because that cold air was just beating up against it, and it broke through it. And I could literally feel the layer of heat break away as the air was coming towards my body. And when it blasted through that heat barrier around my body, all of a sudden I could feel the air flowing around me. Excuse me, guys. But yeah, so at that point I was like, wow, that's incredible. I just hate that I wasn't able to control it to where I could actually harness it and create a heat shield around my body. That would have been pretty cool if I was able to do that. You know what I'm saying? That I feel like a superhero, somebody from Heroes or whatever. But anyway, yeah. But that was my experience with the ghost in my house. I got plenty more where that's coming from, so trust me. But yeah, so okay, tonight's story. Moving on. Tonight's story is going to be about Bruce Shearin. He disappeared. Well, first of all, he was 2 years old at the time when he disappeared. This was around February 27th, 1976. This was a year after I was born. Okay. Now this happened around Roseboro, North Carolina. Okay. So now he was at his grandfather's farm, which is 3 miles west of Roseboro. This was like up in the mountains. He was in the front yard playing. No, he was in the front yard playing with a German Shepherd puppy. Um, that the aunt that was watching him went in the house for a few minutes. She came out, and Bruce and the dog was gone. Now there were fields around, and she could see for a long ways, and she's not seeing anything at that point. So she called the Sampson County Sheriff, and he sent out the 82nd Airborne, hundreds of volunteers. So there was a lot of people searching for him. It was the largest effort to find someone in that county at the time. It was like a total of 1,200 people that were searching for him at that point. Now, after about 3 or 4 days, the investigators kept bringing up the word kidnapping, and which is what happens with a lot of the law enforcement. They always seem to bring up kidnapping because there's no other logical reason for a kid to disappear like that, unless it's somebody that was kidnapped or somebody had kidnapped the person. Okay, so now, being in such a remote area, it would have been very risky for something like that to happen as far as a kidnapping, because there's just so many people around. So you wouldn't really be able to get away with that. Now, Bruce's dad was granted leave to search for his son. He was a military man. Now, there was never any evidence of him found whatsoever. So it was like he disappeared off the face of the earth. Foul play was thought of, but of course that was ruled out because there was no evidence of any foul play. There was no evidence of him even being in the area. So he just vanished, and that right there was the essential end. So, but yeah, in a lot of these cases with little children disappearing in rural areas and mountain areas, like I was gonna say Jared Adadero, he was one of them. And then you got Dior Kuntz from Leodore. Same with him. He was in an area just like that where he just seemingly vanished without a trace, right near his grandfather, especially after he looked one way and then looked back and he just was gone. No one in that area can fathom a little boy just disappearing like that. That's the reason why they're chastising the parents, the way they are. And they even talked about the family friend because they said that he was a criminal, or he was out of jail, of course, but he had a criminal past. But nothing was really said about him because apparently he was cleared of having anything to do with that little boy's disappearance. And I'm gonna try and see if I can get some more information on that to see what's happening with that case. I'm pretty sure it's pretty much the same thing. But it is what it is. And I'm also going to do a follow-up on Madison Scott. I've talked about her before in one of my past videos. She was one of the her case was one of the cases that was one of the reasons why I got started doing this, because when I first heard about her, I was watching this documentary about her disappearance on YouTube. And it's a video that they had actually put together themselves, and it was very well put together. I mean, the entire community in Vanderhoof had participated. I'm talking like everybody participated, and to this day they are still looking for her. And if you think about it, every other case of someone disappearing, they look for them for like maybe 2 weeks at the most, and then all of a sudden, when they realize they can't find them, they say, well, there's a good chance that we may never find this young man, so they give up the search and drop everything. But these people do not give up. They've been searching for her for 5 years straight after she disappeared. Now, they've had video file footage about their case on 2020, and they talked to a lot of people who they felt had something to do with her disappearance, including her best friend Jordy LaForda, something like that. I know they call her Jordy though, and she was like the number one suspect because she was her best friend, and she left her there, and went home with her boyfriend because she got thrown or knocked into the bonfire. She didn't get burned or anything, but she did get hurt. So, and then she said she was super drunk and went back home. And the next day she went back there to check on her, and that's when she realized that she wasn't there anymore. And ever since that day, she's never been found. There was really no trace of her. They said that her stuff was scattered, like pushed aside, in her tent, and that's really the only thing they've ever found her. I don't know if they even found any footprints. Now, I would have to get the report on her disappearance. I probably have to file a Freedom of Information Act. Now, if her case is anything like the missing 411 cases, they probably won't give it up because they would have said that even Vancouver, British Columbia, they're just as stodgy when it comes to giving up information like that. They don't want to give it up. They don't have to. Plus the fact they operate on a different level with the FOIA. I think he said either in Canada or British Columbia, they only give those reports to people who live in that state or country or whatever the case may be. So yeah, that's pretty much a done deal on that. But I mean, a lot of people have talked to him, like this one guy who does I think he calls it spotlight search, brain scratch. He's actually talked to the mother and the father, for his YouTube channel, and I would love to get a chance to talk to him myself. Now he does his videos on YouTube in a certain way like everybody else does. He's not doing it in a supernatural type. He doesn't like go towards the supernatural when it comes to him talking to these people. He just states the facts, just like David Paulides. But see, me, I'm more of a person who would try to go beyond that and ask them, would you be willing to have an open mind, in finding your daughter? Because I want to find her. I really do. Her case has been eating away at me since I first found out about it. It's almost like being connected with her in a way, but you're not, because you're not getting any answers. But it's been tugging at my heart for the longest time, and I would love to do whatever it took for me to find her. Now, they have done everything they possibly could. They got this thing called poker rides in Vanderhoof, British Columbia, where people just go out every single day, get on horses, and just trot through the area looking for clues and finding her. Now, see, they live in an area where it's very wooded. It's got like thick forests that just go out for miles around. If you're looking at everything from 30,000 feet up, you can see nothing but trees. You see streets, you see homes, you see houses, in the shopping areas and all that stuff. But 90% of that entire area of British Columbia in Vanderhoof is like all trees. It's very, very thick, with fauna and forests and stuff like that. So you can pretty much hide anything in there if there was some sort of foul play, because we all know about, if you learn anything about disappearances in British Columbia, you know about the mysterious disappearances of women in British Columbia, and most of them are Native American women. There are some that are white, Caucasian women, and but 90% of the women that disappear in British Columbia are the Native American females, and the ages range from 16 to like 20 something years old. But she didn't disappear in that area, because they got this one area called the Highway of Tears. A lot of women have disappeared on that highway, and some of them have been found brutally murdered. Some of them haven't been found at all, and a lot of times they may have thought they cracked the case on who might have been doing it, but it turns out this person wasn't nowhere near the area where these women were being found dead, or realized that they just disappeared. Because there was a lot of hitchhikers on that highway. That's why they call it the Highway of Tears. They hitchhike, they get picked up by somebody, and they're never seen again. So, like I said, she didn't disappear in that area. She was probably a couple of miles away from where that place was. She was next door to the Highway of Tears, but her disappearance didn't happen in that area, so they're not ruling her they ruled her disappearance out, that, as far as it being connected to the Highway of Tears. So on the anniversary of her disappearance, I will be doing another post on her case, and I have a plan on how I can do this. I just have to put it together, as far as getting the information I need, because they put her birth date out there for everybody to see it, as far as when she was born, when she disappeared. So I'm going to see what I can do, and hopefully, if I plan things right, I may get the results that I want to get from all this, and hopefully, I can get this information to her parents, and they can do with the information, do with it whatever they wish to do with the information. Hopefully, it would be a positive venture. So, yeah. I'm really hoping that something like that will make amends with what's going on with her disappearance, and I hope that she will be found. Now, if it's like basically a ease of mind, because they would have to be prepared for the worst, if she's ever found. And hopefully that when she is found, I would hope that it would be a positive thing and not a negative thing, because they feel that she's still alive, and all parents want to believe that their child is still alive, but they disappeared from where they were last seen. All parents are going to be like, I know I would never want to think anything other than the fact that my child is still alive out there somewhere, and somebody the person that kidnapped her is raising her, and she's growing up, on another, growing up under another identity, maybe, because I've heard of that stuff happening with young children who are being kidnapped by somebody. They actually live their life under an assumed name, and they keep a watchful eye on them and keep them in the house for like years, because if they know if they're outside in the open, they're gonna recognize her, and then that'll be the end of that, and they don't want that to happen. So, okay, I am going to read another story. This one is going to be a short one, but I gotta see. I'm gonna do this here. I may do two stories, because they're very short. The ones that I want to read. One is about Kenji Ami or Omi, and the other one is about Max Walker. So I'm going to read those two. They're fairly short stories, so obviously they don't have a lot of information on him. Okay, this, like I said, is about, the first one is going to be about Kenji Omi or Ami. He went missing on January 28th, 2006 at 6:20 a.m. in Madison, Wisconsin. He was 20 years old when he first disappeared. Okay, this case is a little different than most in this chapter. Kenji was not a permanent resident of the United States, and he didn't disappear in the normal time frame of the majority of these victims. Kenji Omni, try to say that right, Ami or Omi, I'm going to say Omi. Kenji Omi was a transfer student from Kyoto, Japan. Some articles have stated that he was a student at the University of Wisconsin at Madison. This is not true. He was a student at the Wisconsin English as a Second Language Institute. It's called the WESLI, so the Wesley, I guess that's the abbreviation for it. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Read that right. He was a student at the Wisconsin English as a second language institute when he disappeared. He lived at 202 North Hamilton Street in Madison. He was described as a very good student who was attentive and always attended classes. On January 28, 2006, at approximately 6:30 a.m., Kenji was seen on CCTV leaving his apartment building wearing tennis shoes, a black coat, and blue denim pants. A cold rain was coming down, and he wasn't carrying an umbrella. Nobody knew where he was going. After his roommates didn't see him for a day, they reported him as a missing person. Kenji's parents came to the United States from Japan to aid in the search for their boy. They stated that he was happy with the school and had appeared to be doing well. There were a few articles in Madison, and specifically one in the Badger Herald, that addressed the lack of publicity in this case compared to others. A group of international students worked tirelessly on keeping Kenji's face in the media and searching the grounds and area around the school. Nobody found anything of value. On June 19, 2006, Kenji's case came back into the media spotlight as is described in this June 20th, 2006 article on Madison.com. Mike Cochran, 46, of Madison, said he spotted the young man's body as he passed it on his wind surfboard just before 1:45 p.m. It was about 1/4 mile offshore near homes on the 1200 block of Sherman Avenue. The body was floating face down, just like all the others, wearing a dark shirt, shorts, tan socks, and what have been described as sneakers. Dane County Sheriff boats pulled the body from the water. It was Kenji. The body was in Lake Mendota. The lake was 4 blocks from Kenji's residence. I always paid special attention to detail. The windsurfer stated that he saw Kenji wearing shorts. The CCTV caught him wearing long pants. Okay, see, there's the crazy part. How you go from wearing denim pants to shorts? So either he got wet from the waist down and changed his pants to his shorts, but they didn't say anything about him having a duffel bag with him. So obviously somebody changed his pants from pants to shorts. I don't know how that was even possible, because the CCTV camera just showed him, walking, I guess, down the street or whatever the case may be. It said he was leaving his apartment wearing tennis shoes, a black coat, and blue denim pants. Okay, it was a cold rain, and he didn't appear to have an umbrella. So, like I said, it didn't say anything about him carrying a duffel bag with extra clothes in it. So how he changed his clothes from wearing pants to shorts, that's anybody's guess. Okay. Where was his pants? This is the only Asian male that disappeared in Wisconsin, and the only one to disappear in the morning hours. Okay, like I said, that is the weirdest part, because the CCTV cameras saw him leaving his apartment wearing those items of clothing, and one of those items of clothing was pants. Yet when they found his body in the water, face down, just like all the rest of them, in the body of water, he was wearing shorts. So how and why did he change his pants to shorts? And it was raining outside. It was a cold rain too. We're talking about January, so it was freezing outside. And I know there's a lot of people out there who you see wearing shorts in the dead of winter. I remember I was going to the bank at my job, and there was a guy I saw walking into the credit union. The man had on a red wife beater, shorts, and sandals with no socks on. Well, not sandals, but he had on flip-flops with no socks on. I was like, seriously? And then he was like beat red all over, So obviously the elements was affecting him to the point where his whole body was just like red. I'm saying to myself, why would you? I'm talking, it was freezing outside, and you walking around like it's summertime. Now I know there's a lot of people out there that got that warm blood and that thick skin, so they don't be as cold, but it bites you in the ass later on in life when you end up with arthritis and you can barely walk because you're crippled because of that. So for him to do what he did is, nothing short of weird because he was wearing pants. So how did he get shorts on? And furthermore, where did he get the shorts from? Or better yet, who put the shorts on him? That's the question. So that right there is a brain scratcher for me too. I'm like, wait a minute. So this is just as strange as the Bruce Shearin case where he just up and just disappeared. You know, not. I mean, of course, the stories are completely different and the evidence is completely different. But it's just as weird as that story. You know, Bruce Shearin just disappeared from sight and then he was never found. Okay, so he disappeared obviously in the area and was never found at that point. And he disappeared with the dog too. The dog never came back. So weird. But anyway, on to the next story. This one is about Max Walker. Now, Max Walker disappeared at around 07/25 on 2006 at 1:30 a.m. He was 26 years old when he disappeared. This is one of the rare cases when the victim was a war veteran. This means the person had more maturity and worldly experience compared to some of the younger college men. Max Walker was a 1998 graduate of Grand Island High School in Grand Island, Nebraska. He briefly attended the University of Nebraska at Lincoln until he was deployed to Iraq. He was part of the U.S. Army Reserve's 308th Transportation Group based in Lincoln. Max came back and enrolled at St. Ambrose University as an economics and finance major, where he earned honors status. He enjoyed playing golf and music, and was a member of the Veterans of Foreign Wars. Okay. In December of 2005, Max obtained an internship with Northwestern Mutual Life Insurance as a financial representative intern. On July 24th, 2006, he was in Milwaukee for a conference with his company. Milwaukee. Now that's the same place that one of my favorite authors, Nikki Rashan, was born. And that's her hometown. She was a lesbian author. She wrote some very good books. I gotta admit that I enjoyed every last one of them. But anyway, I'm getting off subject here. Okay, on July 24th, Max went out after the conference with work associates for a night along with the Riverwalk area of Milwaukee. This is a series of bars and restaurants scattered along the Milwaukee River. At approximately 1:30 a.m., Max left the Buckhead Saloon at 1044 North Old World 3rd Street. The saloon sits along the river. CCTV footage shows that Max left alone. When Max's roommate realized that his bed in the hotel hadn't been slept in, by noon that day, the police were called and he was reported as a missing person. There was a search for Max by police and friends. Nothing of value was found. On July 27, 2006, a construction crew was near the Milwaukee River and saw something unusual in the water. The police were called and Max's body was recovered. The coroner stated that there were no outward signs of violence on the body. One report indicated it was a probable drowning. Is that word again, drowning? Okay, but anyway. Okay, but there was no official confirmation statement from the medical examiner that we could locate, and no release of his blood alcohol level. Wow. Okay, so yeah, that was another brain scratcher right there, because the CCTV cameras showed him walking away from the establishment alone. But where he was going, I don't know. It's almost like every single person that always seems to be attracted to a body of water. Okay, they come out of a bar after drinking and they go straight to the water, and then they're found face down in the water with hardly any clothes on. You know, but see, the last guy, he was found in the water face down with shorts after he was seen with just pants on. He didn't have a duffel bag on his shoulder, so that means he couldn't have changed his clothes at that point. So something changed his clothes from pants to shorts, which is weird because now the camera didn't show him going to his house, even though that might have been where he was going, but it just showed him walking away from the establishment, and next thing you know, bam, he ends up in the water. So, you know, like I said, these are some strange cases because these people are never seen going into the water. Now, they did say there was some video footage of a person standing at the edge of the shore where there was a river, and the camera cuts away from it and cuts back, and the person's gone. So it's like they always wait for their right opportune moment to take a person when nobody's looking, including the camera. So if the camera cuts away from it and cuts back, then that's when they take them within that moment. So whatever this is very slick. It knows how we think, and it knows how we run our life. So it knows how to get around all that by doing all these crazy things, and it makes us think that how is this possible? You know, that's all we ever say is how is this possible? It's possible because the impossible is the most possible thing on this planet. Okay, people don't realize that the possible is very alive, and so the impossible is very alive. A lot of people think that if it's impossible, it is what it is. Please, the impossible is actually the possible. I know that sounds weird, but it is what it is. If you look at the evidence in a lot of the cases in his books, it tells you straight up that all the impossible evidence that they find surrounding these deaths, it's impossible for that stuff to happen as far as our minds go. But obviously the impossible is the impossible. You know, whatever this thing is, it makes the impossible possible. It has that ability. You know, so the question is, are we ever going to believe that? Are we going to keep saying, I know my son or my daughter was kidnapped? Yeah, kidnapped by what though? There is no known human on this planet that can do what this thing does. Okay? We're talking about 100% success rate, and it's been going on like that for hundreds of years, as far as, you know, the records could tell you. But still, how is it that a human can do something like that? There's no known human on this planet that can do that, unless you have an ability to use 100% of your brain and you're able to actually do these things without recourse, you know. So I mean, what can I say? You know, it's just weird. You know, when you hear about these things, all you're being is skeptical. That's all you being is skeptical, because you don't want to believe that something impossible is a reality. I do, because I've been there. I've seen the impossible. I've seen it happen with my very own eyes. I could tell someone that I saw this or I saw that, as though you was drinking, or you was smoking this. And no, I don't smoke. And I drink, but I drink on occasion. But that don't mean I'm gonna be still that messed up in the head to where I'm gonna be hallucinating. There's no such thing as hallucinations, folks. I'm gonna just tell you that right now. I've mentioned this in one of my past videos. There's no such thing as hallucinations. See, what I think it is, that if you, let's just say you're taking some type of drug that causes you to hallucinate, I think what happens is, whatever kind of drug that is, it puts your mind in a state where you can peer into the unknown. You can peer into the spirit world. You can peer into what we know as science fiction, or just the plain old unbelievable. We can see these things. So when you start seeing people walking by that look transparent and nobody else can see them, that's because your mind has been opened up to a new level to where you can peer into the spirit world. You know, so hallucinations, there's no such thing. It just enhances your brain to open up even more at that point, to where you can see all this stuff that they look at as hallucinations. You know, so get that out of your head, folks. I can tell you right now, that's what it is. These are enhancement drugs, and we just don't realize that these enhancement drugs can enhance our brain to do these things. You know, but we just have to accept that. Don't look at it as hallucinations. And if you see stuff without taking drugs, and you be like, okay, I know I'm seeing things, because that's impossible. I've seen a lot of things that I probably thought was impossible years ago when I was a kid. But I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't believe it then either. I knew that what I saw is what I saw. Because I always had an open mind, even as a kid. I've been seeing ghosts ever since I was a child. Okay, I've seen stuff that wouldn't, turn your hair white, but it would definitely scare you. Like there was one, like when I was a little kid, me and my cousin was in the bed. It was upstairs on the second floor, and I'm looking out. I'm looking towards the curtain. You can see the light from the street lights, beaming off of the curtain, right? All of a sudden, I see the silhouette of a head. I can see the back of the head, the top of the head, the forehead, the frame right here, the nose, and it was like to the side like this here. And all I saw was a shadow, and it just kept bobbing up and down like it was pacing like this. It would turn and go back this way, and then it would turn and go back that way. It just kept pacing back and forth, and bobbing up and down at the same time. I'm like, what the heck? So I go to the window. I say, how is a person? Because like, if you knew how the house was at that time when we lived at in Brooklyn, where he was at, that was impossible for him to even be there, because the only thing he could have been standing on is this little doorway arch that leads into the kitchen, which is like on the bottom floor. We was on the second floor, so there was no way for him to even be up there. So when I opened up the curtain and looked outside, I didn't see nothing. But I look out, I don't see the head, but I'm looking at the curtain, I can still see it going back and forth. I'm like, what the hell? I mean, I didn't say that when I was a kid, but I'm looking at it, I'm like, what? There's nobody out there, but yet the head was still going back and forth. I could actually see it, the shadow of the head in the curtain. And me and my cousin booked out of that bed and ran downstairs. My grandfather was in the next room snoring his life away, so he didn't hear us. So he was a heavy sleeper. But anyway, we ran downstairs. We told my nana and we told my mom what happened, and it was like, wow, I can't even remember what they said, but I remember we were standing there and telling them, and I would tell them how that whatever it was just kept bobbing up and down and walking and pacing back and forth. And I could literally see the head, the nose, and the lips, everything. I was like, wow, that was the most insane experience I had when I was a kid. And there's more. I told you, I got more coming. I probably should have saved that for the next video, because I kind of ran out of UFO experiences. I do have some, but like I said, they're very small. So, but the majority of the ones that I've talked about are the main ones. So, most of my experiences are probably going to be ghost experiences from now on. We'll see. But, yeah, that was crazy. But I hate to say it, guys, but that's the end for tonight. I had 3 stories that I read for you guys. Okay, one was about a little 2-year-old boy, and 2 of these grown men who was in college. So as always, I'm gonna come back with more. So stay tuned for more videos. Keep your eyes peeled and your ears open so you can hear those notifications come through. And I just want to thank all my fans once again. I'm gonna thank you guys every day, because you guys are getting me to that goal. I got 138 subscribers today, so I want to welcome my new subscribers. And I just want to say I really hope you enjoy my videos. If you want to drop me a line, hit me up in the comment section below, and just let me know what you think. And if you like the stories that I'm telling, because they come straight word from word from the Sobering Coincidence book and Missing 411. So you're not getting any cheese, okay? You're not getting anything cheesy. I'm not ad-libbing. I'm not giving you any extra information, that doesn't have anything to do with the book story, the story in the book. So you're getting 100% word for word, okay? So, and if I do talk about anything else, I'm writing it down. I'm writing it down so that I can, get the information I need from it. I'll listen to one of his interviews and jot down the information I need to read from that. So if you don't see the book in my hand, you're gonna see this. My little notebook where I keep all my notes in for whatever story I'm gonna read. So, like I said, just want to say welcome to all my new subscribers. Hope you enjoy my channel, and I will definitely subscribe to yours. So just to let you know, for anyone that subscribes to me, and I will definitely subscribe to yours. And I will be looking at your videos too, so don't fret. Because I always, if you subscribe to my channel, I will be looking at yours too, and I will leave a comment letting you know that I enjoyed it. So that way you won't think you're doing anything in vain. So I can imagine, I can tell you, like, I have actually lost some and gained some. I've seen, like, if I see it going up and then after like maybe a couple hours it goes down and it goes back up again. I mean, hey, I'm not one to say you need to, but that's why I say if you like it, you know, hit me with them thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. If not, yeah, hey, you know, I can't force nobody. You know, but if you like it, I would love it if you subscribe to my channel. You tell your friends about what I'm talking about. If they enjoy these kind of stories too, they can come right here to this channel. If they have an open mind, you got a home right here, because that's what I accept, open-minded people. And even if you're not, if you have some theories of your own that isn't within the criteria or what I'm talking about or what David is talking about, still, I don't knock anybody for that. Okay, I accept any type of information that I can get from anybody about anything dealing with these cases. Okay, so just remember that. Okay, I respect anybody's thoughts, no matter how not so out there they are. Okay, even if you're a rational thinker or if you're a logical thinker, I'll accept that it just as well. So but anyway, guys, I gotta go. It's getting late, and I gotta get up real early because I gotta get my cousin to the airport tomorrow because she's going back home to New York in Queens. You know, I had a very good time with her. So that's why I was trying to make sure I had all my videos put together for you guys. You know, but you know, I was real busy with my cousin, hanging out with her. So I had a blast. You know, because we always been like brother and sister ever since, because we grew up together. You know, so that's like I said, you know, I got to get her to the airport early tomorrow morning, so I got to get a little rest so I can wake up, you know, at a good, reasonable time, because I got to get her there like 3 hours early. You know how that goes when you're on a plane. You know, you want to get there early enough so you can get on that, so you won't have to miss your plane. So, always imparting, aloha, mahalo, and ahui ho. Peace out, guys. Have a good night and sweet dreams.